On this day 62 years ago, the civil rights movement in St. Augustine climbed to another level. June 18th, 1964, this photo was taken of young black people swimming in a motel swimming pool reserved for white people. The motel manager, so outraged, he poured acid into the swimming pool. It was a civil rights demonstration. Now, off to the side of the swimming pool was a group of rabbis. They were praying and supporting the civil rights efforts. The swimmers and the rabbis were arrested for disturbing the peace, for having a demonstration. Today, there is only one of those rabbis still living, and he's returned to St. Augustine this week.
Hello, everybody.
Rabbi Alan Setcher traveled to St. Augustine this week to a host of friends and admirers. His first visit to St. Augustine was 62 years ago with a group of rabbis from all over the country. They came at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s request.
16 rabbis and a layman came here in June of 1964. I am the last survivor of the 17.
King wanted help from the Jewish community as the civil rights movement in St. Augustine picked up speed, and reactions to it from segregationists and the KKK turned violent.
Clergy are supposed to be not just saying things. They're supposed to be walking the walk.
Setcher and the other rabbis literally walked the walk, peacefully marching then through the town with black demonstrators.
And walking for a couple of hours, the scariest 2 hours of my lifetime, because we were told there had been shooting.
The 1964 visit climaxed when he and the other rabbis stood to the side of a downtown St. Augustine swimming pool for whites only. Some young black swimmers jumped in, part of a civil rights demonstration. Furious, the motel manager poured acid into the pool. The swimmers were arrested, and so were the rabbis for holding a demonstration. It was the largest mass arrest of rabbis in the U.S. The 16 rabbis and a layman were put into the same cell at the St. Johns County Jail.
Standing up for something that was right is right.
62 years later, all the other rabbis who were in that jail cell have died, except for Rabbi Setcher. At 91 years old, he has returned to St. Augustine to see a play about his life performed on stage, to visit the building Thursday that was the jail where he was booked 6 decades ago, and he and his wife want to do one more thing.
We want to see if there's changes. What's changed in 60-some years?
He is disappointed that the country still seems divided politically and socially, but he sees a ray of hope. St. Augustine will have its first black woman mayor this year,
Which is really exciting.
and the rest of his visit to St. Augustine will reveal what else has or hasn't changed.
I'm anxious to find out.
One important note here, the rabbis who came in 1964 said the real heroes of the civil rights movement in St. Augustine were not the ones who came down for a short period of time like they did, but the people who demonstrated in St. Augustine day after day, week after week.